Hi guys, welcome to the Uni Applications video. This one's going to be on how to write an awesome personal statement so that you can stand out of all the massive crowds of people that will be applying to universities this year and beyond. Okay, so if you don't know me, my name is Vishal Kumar. I am a doctor in the UK. Do feel free to check out the introduction. The link will be right up here. So just look it up if you want to find out more about me. So let's get right into it. So there are 6 pillars of writing a personal statement that I have come up with. For a moment, just take a break here and see if you can come up with 6 pillars of writing a personal statement and see if you can match up and what your thoughts are. This tells you whether your strategy is along the right lines. It doesn't have to match up exactly the same because everyone has got different strategies and perspectives, but see what similarities you have, and in fact let me know in the comment sections what you came up with down below. Okay, so let's get started. The first one is be yourself. It is a cliche, okay? You will see this time and again. People say this on and off everywhere, but it works. Okay, I will be going into every single one of these 6 points later in the presentation, so do stay until the end. So the second point is to sell yourself. This is extremely crucial for writing a personal statement, as of course it is also important for interviews, which I will be covering in later videos down the line. Don't be cocky, guys. That is not a good idea. Interviewers and your mentors who will be going through your personal statements at university read through thousands of these every year, and being cocky is not exactly a good idea. Tell them a story. I'll tell you more about what I mean by that in a minute. And do your research and make sure you show it, okay? It's no good doing your research and storing all the information in your head. Nobody can read your mind. You need to show that you know stuff, that you are good. And don't make basic mistakes. It is probably the most crucial point here because, if you're making basic mistakes and you have got all the other top 5 points, then it won't come across well at all. What it will say of you is that you are basically a reckless person and you don't even make sure that you cover the basics first, okay? That's what it tells them about you, and this is really a bad idea. So let's get into the details of what I mean by all of these. In terms of being yourself, what I mean is that, you are unique. As a person, you are a unique person. In the 7 billion population right now, there is nobody quite like you in the entire world. There's no one who's as good as being you other than you, okay? Now, I'm not trying to flatter you. I'm not trying to make you arrogant. What I'm saying is that you have something to offer, okay, that is unique and that they will want. That's what I'm trying to say, basically. Tell them about all of these different things. First of all, your origins. You may probably have quite an interesting origin. You may be an international or not. It doesn't have to be that you're an international or terribly exotic. You can just be local. But even then, you may have an interesting story to tell, whether it's from your family, your childhood, and this also ties in with your background, okay? Tell them about your motivations in your personal statement, about why you are applying, and about what fears you might have. Now, this might sound counterintuitive because you don't want to talk about your fears, okay? But the reality is that if you talk about your fears and what you might be concerned about, it makes it real, okay? The important thing is that not just mention your fears, but also talk about how you are going to conquer your fears, how you are going to face them and overcome them, okay? And how you are going to be a survivor, All right, so that's what it means. You don't have to mention something negative, which is perceived as negative, like something like fear, and just leave it at that. That is a bad idea. Okay, don't mention something and just leave it. Make sure you always expand on things. And also about curiosities, what takes your interest in your specific field, and questions you might have. And finally, something that is along the lines of fears is struggles. Okay, now everyone in their lives have had struggles of some kind or another at some point or another. There is always some kind of struggle, and mentioning your struggle and how you overcame them, or if you haven't overcome them yet, then mention what you struggle with in being yourself. Okay, maybe everyone has flaws, right? So what you can do here is that you can mention something like having difficulty multitasking, for example. Now what you can say is that although you have difficulty multitasking, this is because you are so focused on one task at a time, and you achieve results. Okay, so you can turn it around that way. That doesn't mean that you can't multitask. What it means is that you prioritize. Okay, that's how you need to mention it, guys. That's how you need to play it, guys. Okay, all right, let's move on. So in terms of selling yourself, there is absolutely no shame in doing this. Everyone does it. Okay, everyone on their personal statement is doing it all around the country, all around the world, to get that university spot, and you have to do the same. It's essentially, your personal statement is essentially an ad of you. It's like putting an ad in the papers online, okay? That's essentially what it is. There is no other way that they can judge you other than all the information you have provided in your application and your personal statement. This is your chance to shine. You need to highlight your achievements and your extracurricular activities and how they are relevant. It's no good just listing them out, okay? Don't just say you play football and you are the captain of your football team. So what? How is it relevant to your application? Link it up and make sense of it. Make them see why you are mentioning something. Don't just leave something hanging, all right? And what your plans are for the future in pursuing things, okay? If you mention your extracurricular activities, any interests you might have outside of your own field, which you should, you also should mention whether you want to pursue them, where you might want to take them, okay, in the future. Coming back to the point of being not cocky, now, I said earlier on that you need to sell yourself. Don't get carried away though, okay? That is the worst thing you can do for yourself. Don't get carried away. As I said earlier on, they go through literally thousands of personal statements every year, and getting carried away and, bigging yourself up essentially will make you sound arrogant, and that won't go down well. Be truthful. If you're not, they will catch you out, okay? As I said, they are experts at what they do. If you are being a bit too extra and exaggerating, which is my next point, if you're exaggerating too much or just, straight up lying, that is a very bad idea. Just don't do it, guys, okay? And highlight your efforts and your drive to learn and grow. Again, it's about turning things around, right? So it's about how you like to learn, how you like to find out more, and how you like to grow as a person, as a professional, or a specialist in your field, or as an artist, as a writer, whatever that may be, okay? These are the things that you need to draw on. I can't recall a time when I ever met somebody who doesn't like a story, okay? We all like stories. Why do people go to see the movies, and why do people watch Netflix, right? That's because we all like stories. Everyone likes stories. So tell them a story, because it makes your personal statement, which is PS here, it makes your personal statement interesting, and it makes it memorable, because the vast majority of personal statements out there are going to be essentially line after line of why they are, the candidate is so great. right? And what they've done without actually explaining or telling a relevant story. So they all sound the same basically, all right? And you need to avoid that. And how you can do that is by making sure that you tell them a story. What this also does is that it makes them want to find out more about you, and this could lead to that interview or the offer that you always wanted. Okay, now this story doesn't have to be that you found the next planet and you discovered a new element. That doesn't have to be the case. It can be something simple, but it just needs to be something relatable, and it needs to be something relevant. Okay, the next thing is you need to do your research. Okay, it doesn't matter what specialty you're applying for, it doesn't matter what field you're applying for, and when you're applying for it, what they want to know is that you know what you're getting yourself into. Okay, the last thing they want is for a candidate or a large bunch of candidates, okay, anyway, for them to join their course, join their uni, only to drop out within the first year, right? Because they don't know what on earth they're getting themselves into. That is not a good idea. So do your research, find out more about what you are getting yourself into, what your subject areas are, okay? And pick one, actually. Pick one specific part, one specific sub-interest in that massive field, whatever it may be, okay? It may be law, medicine, nursing, physio, art, English literature, engineering, whatever that may be. Just pick a sub-interest in that field and talk about it. Okay, show that you are knowledgeable about it and why it interests you and why you want to find out more about it. Show them you are passionate. Okay, make them see that yes, you are a knowledgeable candidate and that you would be a valuable asset to their uni. Okay, make them want you guys. Okay, and as I said, mention one, maximum two. Don't mention too many, because, well, first of all, you only have a certain amount of space in your personal statement. Secondly, you have got to prioritize other things as well. So whilst this is important, this is not everything. Okay. Lastly, and probably the most important point, which I said earlier on, don't make basic mistakes. Okay, imagine if you're applying for something like law, English literature. Honestly, to be honest, whatever it is, the last thing your mentors, your tutors want to see is for you to be making basic mistakes, stuff like grammar and poor vocabulary. Okay, these are big no-nos. You really, really can't afford to have these things going on in your personal statement. And poor sentence structures are often seen. Poor paragraphing is also often seen. What is perhaps a little bit more forgivable, although exactly, I would still lump it in this section of basic mistakes, is that your sections are not coherent, or what you've mentioned is irrelevant to what you are trying to apply to or get into. Okay, so if it doesn't make sense, then they will dismiss it and it will have just been wasted space. And you don't want any wasted space in your personal statement. You just can't afford to have any wasted space. And finally, but definitely not the least point here, is not keeping to your personal statement limits. I mean, these days you do have the limit guidelines online, so hopefully that won't happen with you. But even then, it is always a good idea for you to check the character count, the lines count, to make sure that you are not exceeding the limit 2 times, 3 times, I would say 5 times at least, before you submit that personal statement into your through your application. All right, so I just want to say how important these things are. All right, so we have gone through some very important factors here in writing a personal statement, but this is not everything. What you need here is to have a template, and for somebody who's experienced to go through the personal statement so that you're not making all the mistakes that everyone else is making, and to make sure that your personal statements is getting noticed in that massive pile that comes through their doors every year, okay? And that you are the person who gets that interview, gets that offer. And to do that, I have launched two things on my website for you to check out, okay? So just go to this link here, keenmedic.com/store, and find these two things. Go for them. I would highly recommend you do that. It is not a risk worth taking, in my opinion. There are lots of people who get rejected, and I honestly think that, you should take this chance. If you go to this link, you will be directly taken there. If not, if you go to keenmedic.com, what you can do is you can just go to the top right hand corner and find the office there, which will also be there. I'll see you in the next video, guys. I really hope that you found this valuable, and good luck for your applications.